The recent public statements from Denise, 54, have brought a tumultuous relationship into the spotlight. Just days after Denise made claims against Aaron, alleging threats and physical harm, and stating he accessed her electronic devices without permission, Aaron has now shared his perspective on the events leading to their separation. Aaron's account: Aaron revealed that their intense disagreement on July 4th, which precipitated his divorce filing, stemmed from a discovery he made earlier this year. He claimed to have found messages on Denise's laptop between her and another individual, including personal images and plans for private meetings. Aaron stated in an interview that he confronted Denise about these messages, and they initially decided to try and work through their issues. However, the heated argument over the July 4th weekend ultimately led him to file for divorce. He also alleged that his phone went missing for over 24 hours and was later found destroyed. Aaron claimed that when he questioned Denise about the phone, she reacted physically, and he believes the phone contained evidence related to the alleged affair. Denise's allegations: Denise, according to court documents, has described a pattern of emotional and physical mistreatment throughout her 7-year marriage with Aaron. She reported incidents of being physically harmed, including blows to her head and face, and enduring derogatory language. In court documents, Denise stated, "Throughout our relationship, Aaron would frequently physically restrict me, apply pressure to my head, tightly hold my arms, strike me in my face and head, forcefully push my head, and threaten me." She further added, "Aaron regularly threatened me and would express remorse, ask me to stay, and promise to seek help, none of which ever happened." Denise also claimed to have suffered multiple instances of head trauma due to Aaron's actions. She alleged that Aaron admitted to placing recording devices to monitor her when she was alone in hotel rooms and at her residences. Most recently, Denise described an incident on July 4th where, over 2 hours, Aaron repeatedly approached her closely and subjected her to intense verbal abuse. Denise stated, "Aaron's actions were frightening me to the point that, as with nearly all of Aaron's mistreatment of me, I was afraid that Aaron might cause me serious harm." The actress claimed she never contacted law enforcement because Aaron had threatened self-harm if she reported him. January 2022 incident. Denise also detailed an incident on January 17, 2022, where she alleged Aaron forcefully struck her in the eye, causing significant swelling and bruising. She claimed that moments before, Aaron became agitated, believing that plants he had purchased contained surveillance devices. Denise stated Aaron began shouting, leading a police officer who regularly patrolled the area to approach their residence. However, after the officer departed, Denise alleged that Aaron continued to scream and then struck her eye while using offensive language. Denise claimed a family member witnessed this incident, which resulted in substantial bruising around her left eye. The bruising took a month to heal. "I had to cancel 2 professional meetings and rely on a makeup artist, who was aware of the situation, to cover the injury for an unavoidable work obligation," she added. She claimed her husband insisted she tell others that she had walked into a piece of his equipment stored on the building's balcony. Legal proceedings and divorce. A judge has granted Denise a temporary restraining order against Aaron, which will remain in effect until August 8th, when the estranged couple is scheduled to appear in court. Aaron has been ordered to maintain a distance of 100 yards from Denise's home, workplace, and vehicle. He was also instructed to return her laptops and any data he downloaded from her phone. Denise reportedly expressed surprise upon learning of Aaron's divorce filing, with sources close to her stating she felt utterly betrayed. An insider commented, "She never in a million years wanted to get another divorce, and she never in a million years thought he would do this to her." Aaron is reportedly seeking spousal support to maintain their previous lifestyle, which court documents indicate cost over $105,000 per month. A source close to Denise added, Denise thinks it's unfair he is seeking spousal support from her after she has been financially supporting him all these years. Their story, once a Hollywood fairy tale, had unraveled into a grim public spectacle. Denise, the effervescent actress with a megawatt smile, now faced the world with a vulnerability that few had ever seen. Aaron, the quiet, enigmatic figure by her side, had emerged from the shadows with his own version of events, painting a picture of deceit and broken trust. It all came crashing down, they both agreed, on the 4th of July. The sky over Malibu had exploded with dazzling fireworks, but inside their home, a different kind of explosion was taking place. For Aaron, the fuse had been lit months earlier, a slow burn of suspicion ignited by a flicker on a laptop screen. He remembered the exact moment, the late-night quiet, the innocent curiosity that had led him to Denise's computer. Then, the messages. A cold dread had settled in his stomach as he scrolled through conversations, images, and clandestine plans that painted a stark picture of a life lived parallel to his own. He'd confronted her, of course. The initial shock had been followed by a fragile agreement to try and mend what was broken. But the cracks were too deep, the trust too fractured. The July 4th argument had been the final devastating blow. He remembered the escalating voices, the accusations, the sickening thud as his phone, somehow, ended up shattered. He'd seen red, he admitted, convinced it contained the proof he needed, proof he now believed she deliberately destroyed. Her physical reaction when he'd questioned her about it only solidified his suspicions. But Denise's narrative was a chilling counterpoint, a dark symphony of fear and manipulation that had played out over their 7 years together. For her, the 4th of July was just the latest in a long line of incidents, each one a brushstroke in a portrait of escalating abuse. The temporary restraining order, a desperate plea for safety, was the culmination of years spent walking on eggshells, years of enduring what she described as a systematic campaign of emotional and physical torment. She detailed it in the cold, stark language of court documents, the pressure on her head, the tight grip on her arms, the blows to her face, the forceful shoves. The words Aaron hurled at her, she recounted, were designed to degrade and control, chipping away at her spirit until she felt like a shadow of her former self. He would threaten, then apologize, promise to change, only to revert to the same destructive patterns. The cycle was relentless, a psychological trap she felt utterly ensnared in. The head trauma, she alleged, was not an isolated incident. Each bruise, each dizzy spell, was a stark reminder of his anger. And then there were the chilling allegations of surveillance, recording devices hidden in hotel rooms, in her own home, a constant, unseen presence that made every private moment feel exposed. The July 4th incident, she recounted, was a terrifying 2-hour ordeal of relentless verbal abuse. Aaron's proximity, his intense gaze, his unhinged accusations, had left her shaking with a familiar fear. She hadn't called the police, she explained, because of his chilling threats of self-harm, a manipulative tactic she knew all too well, designed to keep her silent, to keep her trapped. The memory of January 17, 2022, was particularly vivid, a day etched into her mind with the pain of a physical blow and the bitter taste of deception. Aaron, agitated by his paranoia about surveillance devices in newly purchased plants, had erupted. She remembered the escalating shouts, the concerned approach of a patrolling police officer, and the false sense of relief when he departed. But the calm was shattered moments later. The searing pain as his fist connected with her eye, the vulgar words that accompanied the blow. A family member had witnessed it, a silent testament to the violence she endured. The injury had been impossible to hide, a swollen, bruised eye that took a month to heal, forcing her to cancel professional meetings, to rely on a makeup artist who, with knowing eyes, masked the evidence of his violence. And then his insistence, the chilling demand that she lie, that she tell everyone she had walked into a piece of his equipment. The shame of that lie, the feeling of being complicit in her own abuse, had gnawed at her. The judge's decision to grant a temporary restraining order was a small victory, a sliver of peace in the chaotic storm. Aaron was ordered to stay away, to return her laptops, to surrender the data he'd downloaded from her phone. But even with the legal protection, the emotional scars ran deep. When the news of Aaron's divorce filing reached her, it was a punch to the gut. She'd been utterly blindsided, betrayed. The thought of another divorce, another public unraveling, was a nightmare she desperately tried to avoid. She had never, in her wildest dreams, imagined he would do this. And then, the final insult, his demand for spousal support, a request to maintain a lifestyle that cost over $105,000 a month, a lifestyle she had, for years, single-handedly funded. The injustice of it was a bitter pill. She had supported him, financially and emotionally, through thick and thin. Now, he wanted her to continue footing the bill for a life she was desperately trying to escape. As the August 8th court date loomed, the public waited, transfixed, for the next chapter in this unfolding drama.